6 years ago, we went into our storage and found salt that was a total mess. It had not stored well and not usable. Well, that's not a prepper thing to do, so we learned from it. Today, we're going to see how our salt's doing. Hey, Provident Preppers, I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Kylene, and today we're going to take you on a little tour through some of our food storage, because once we made a really bad mistake. At a case lot sale, I bought little containers of salt, and it was in a cardboard box, and I just put that box on the shelf and I left it there. Well, salt is hygroscopic, and so over time, it just pulled all the moisture from the air. So when I opened up that box of salt to get some out, it was absolutely ruined. It was destroyed. So that was a really good lesson for us. Salt is incredibly important.
Oh yes, so many uses for salt. It's not just for flavoring on your food, but so many other purposes, and even for barter.
So when you're looking at why it's important to store, if you're just eating a junk food diet, all of the salt that you need comes in all of that junk food that you're buying. But for us, we eat a super clean diet and we make most of our own food, right? Everything's from scratch. We use a tremendous amount of salt, from everything from canning and preserving to just like making a pot of soup. It takes a tablespoon of salt every time I make a pot of soup. And so we go through that a lot more than you might think. We totally recommend 10 pounds per person for a year's supply of salt. And by the end of this video, you just might see why. Now, we already discovered that just storing it in that cardboard box in the little containers, that was a really bad idea. So one of the things that I experimented with, this was actually 2022, and I was just being really lazy. This is iodized salt. We don't store a lot of iodized salt because with the iodized salt, you only have 5 years before the iodine dissipates. And so the whole reason you have iodized salt isn't good anymore. So I just put this in there to see how it would work. And the plastic bag definitely isn't ideal, but
better than nothing, for sure.
There's no evidence of damage on this container. It's still free flowing. So I'd say that's a win. Would I do this long term? No.
And especially with something like a box. In a box with sharp corners, you're probably going to end up at some point getting a hole.
But look at this. So this is just ice cream salt. It's still free flowing. And this one is kosher salt. Oh, there's a few little chunks in here, but it feels like it just shook out. And a lot of the salts we want to buy are pure, which means that they don't have an anti-caking agent in them, because that has a shelf life where the salt doesn't have a shelf life. So it's better to store them that way. But these are salts that I'm not going to use a ton of, so that's why I did that. Now, the plastic bag, oh, it's totally permeable. So that's good for short term. If I know that I'm just going to be rotating through those in a few years, that's just fine to protect them. However, by just taking that box, this is canning salt, and I have canning salt in storage because I do a lot of canning. And you want canning salt when you're canning, because if it has additives in it, then it will cloud the stuff that you're making. Yeah. So you really want the canning salt. But this totally still sounds good. I mean, it's 2021, so it's not that old. It's only about 4 years. But this is a great way to be super easy, super fast, because you're just going to put the box in there, and then you heat seal this shut, and then suddenly you've got protection against moisture, because that is the number one thing that we're protecting against. We should make a really good point, because this is a Mylar bag, but you do not put an oxygen absorber in it, because it will turn it hard, and that's not what we want. So no oxygen absorber, doesn't need it. Now, if I just store this bottle on my shelf just like this, can you see how it will start to get like these little chunks? And that's okay. I mean, the clumps, they'll end up shaking out. But if I put a secondary layer on here, it is so much better. Ideally, this is Celtic salt. A glass canning jar with a plastic lid is a great way to go. A metal lid, the salt will eventually corrode it, but this is a great way to store some of your specialty salts. If you store it in this jar, they will start to cake over time just because they're not in a secondary container, even though they're up here in my kitchen. Some of these bags, the bag isn't a bad idea, but If you put it in the secondary container, it's a much better idea.
This is another attempt that we made, and this was actually in 2015. So now we're 10 years old, and this is just in a bucket with a sealed lid. Now these buckets are somewhat permeable, but they are actually pretty good. And you can hear that is not taken on much moisture.
When I dump it upside down, I mean, I did a pretty good job of filling this, but you can see a little bit of this, but it doesn't look like it clumps. Now, I should open this for you, but the kind of lid this is, if I open it, it will ruin it, and I don't want to ruin it. So you're just gonna have to use your imagination.
So a step up from this would be using a bucket with a Mylar bag inside of it. So then you've created a super tight air and moisture barrier. So that would be even better. This has worked well, but the step up would be Mylar.
Now, one of the problems that I have with storing this much salt in one place is that it would be so easy to contaminate it, right? Because it's gonna take me a while to go through that. So that's where we came up with the bucket idea. Now, I think this is the very best way to store salt for me and my needs. Now, this one has a Gamma Seal lid, which is perfect because it allows me easy access. That one, John has to open, and it takes lots of muscles to do it. What we've done is we just leave the salt in the original container and put them in here. We've got all of these little containers. It's got some clump in there. That surprised me.
And to some extent, a lot of salts that I see come with a little bit of clump just because of, you know, in the manufacturing process, it's probably not completely dry or something. I don't know.
It's like, if this is on the concrete, then we've got, you know, this will allow some moisture in and out and some oxygen over time. It just will. But that was kind of interesting. Now, all these are fine. Yeah, I wonder if it's because they were on the bottom. I wonder if we should have, if we lined this with a Mylar, even if we didn't heat seal the Mylar, I don't know. We're showing you what it looks like. Now, one of the reasons why we did this is iodized salt, but we wanted to make sure that we have something to share with our friends. Now, in the box, there's no problem. That one's just fine. Now this container, okay, this is free flowing. I just wonder if, like the cardboard containers, if we should just avoid storing in those. Because feel that.
Possibly.
That's pretty hard. So I think I'm going to revise. Like, I think I'm going to say, I'm not gonna buy these anymore. This was okay though, but those, now this one, because this isn't quite the same kind of cardboard, this feels like it's got plastic in it. And we did some alternative salts too, in case we're with somebody who needs it. Okay, this one's in a plastic, this is real salt, and it was a little bit clumpy, but the clumps just went right out. This one's hard too. See, this is why we check our preps, right? So let's put this over here and let's look at the salt that's in there. And we always label and date everything, right? That's so important because if I'm looking for canning salt, I don't want to open a bucket and then find out it's not there. So here I know exactly what's in there.
So there's canning and pickling salt.
Yeah, I think this is totally just fine. I can feel just a few little clumps in it, but because there's not a caking or there's not an anti-caking agent, I would actually expect that.
Of course, kosher salt, that one feels fine.
And it's these containers. These containers are better quality than these.
The table salt feels fine. That's very fluid.
And see, okay, the difference is the table salt has an anti-caking agent in it. So some of this we're just going to expect.
Sea salt. Yeah, that one feels like it's
my iodized salt, which, now let's talk about it, the iodine value in this, because it's been over 5 years, probably not so much. You know, if you want to click the card in the corner, it'll take you to the original video that we did where we packaged these. But also, what a great way to store it. So that's all that was in the bucket, right?
Yep.
What would we do differently?
I think more Mylar.
Put more Mylar?
Yep. And probably just use the right size bag and stick one container in at a time.
So you're talking about do Mylar like
just
this
exactly
and then
that.
put them in there?
Yep. And that just provides that super moisture and, well, we're not so concerned about oxygen because we're not trying to pull out the oxygen, but the moisture it would provide a barrier that's much better than just a bucket.
6 years later, all of this salt is still just fine. I really think when it comes to storing salt longer term, I would avoid these containers.
Okay, so let's just cut one of these open and see what it looks like. Yeah, definitely, especially here on the bottom, it's not coming out so well. Okay, that's everything.
So as I'm looking at this, it's still totally usable. It looks like it's breaking up, but I think it would be better if I made it so that this didn't happen. This has no anti-caking agent, right? Yeah, so some of this we would expect.
There again, I'm just not super impressed. And these are the ones, the kind of container that we were in 2019 that we found that was just a total mess. And I mean, it had absorbed a lot of moisture.
It was still damp, like the salt was still damp inside.
The containers were all damp. So these containers, not so good. Now in Mylar, maybe that's fine. But just on its own, or even in a bucket, it doesn't seem to do quite as well.
But maybe avoid those altogether, because look, if we just buy them in these containers or in any of these, why did the cardboard like this not have the same problem that this did? That's one of the things I don't quite get.
Well, I think these containers are a little more damp proof than just this cardboard bottom. This is probably more damp proof than this. That's my guess, is that bottom just maybe absorbs just a little more than it will through this slicker packaging.
So overall, I think that's totally a success. I like in the buckets, I love that I can go to my bucket of salt and I know what's in there and I can just unscrew the lid. I'd rather have more of the Gamma Seal lids. Yeah. But you know, you use whatever you can afford because it's more important to store the salt than not to. And I think a little bit higher quality containers would be on my list.
The ideal,
for these.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's talk just a minute about the storage conditions. How we should store this. Definitely cool, dark, and dry.
Dry.
Emphasis on dry. Now, you know, everybody lives in a different environment, and some environments are just damp. And this is a problem that you'll have. Drier environments are better, but cool, dark, and dry to the best you can.
And that's why we do the secondary container, like the bucket, right? To help keep it drier.
And then you mentioned labeling, because we want to make sure that everything in our storage is labeled, so it's easy to find and
there's no guesswork.
Yeah.
So at least 10 pounds per person per year, because if we're doing food storage, chances are you might find yourself in a crisis kind of situation where you will need more salt in order to be able to preserve some of the food.
And you'll need it for different purposes. So if you want a fun experiment, go search on uses for salt, and there are a myriad. The last one I looked up was 20 different uses for salt for preppers.
Overall, I think this is a great way to store salt. And quite frankly, I'm going to stick with some of the higher quality containers. I probably am going to avoid these, even though the salt is just fine. But I think that's what we'll do in the future. Now is the perfect time to stock up. Salt is cheap, it's available, it lasts forever if it's stored right. And I'd buy a few buckets because I think that's a great way to do it.
And now for the question of the day. What do you use salt for in your everyday life? And how would that change if you were in an extended crisis? Let's talk about this. Drop your comments down below and let's have some discussion and learn from each other. And thanks for being part of the solution.